Inquisitor. That's got a good ring to it. We're happy to be here, your worship. You need anything, let me know.
Can you think of any other tasks suitable for the Chargers?
I suspect Haven's quiet by now. Might be worth sending the boys back. We could recover some supplies, get an idea about the enemy's strength. We could even pick up any stragglers who haven't found Skyhold yet.
Can we talk about the Bull's Chargers?
Certainly. What can I tell you?
Have you had any other interesting jobs?
Had one noble whose rival had been told by a fortune teller that her death would come on feathered wings. The noble sent us after the rival. Not assassination, legal and everything, but we had to wear feathers. We sewed them into shirts over our armor. Should have seen the chief, all feathered up like the cock of the walk. Ended up retreating after all that. The rival choked to death a year later on a chicken bone.
We'll talk later.
Your worship?
Can we talk about the Bull's Chargers?
Certainly. What can I tell you?
Have you had any other interesting jobs?
There was the time with the spiders. Big old beast had taken over some Navarran lady's winter estate, with a full season to lay eggs. Hanging from the chandelier, scuttling over the tapestries, webbing up the bath. Don't really have a story about it. It's just a lot of spiders.
We'll talk later.
Your worship?
Can we talk about the Bull's Chargers?
Certainly. What can I tell you?
Have you had any other interesting jobs?
This old Legion guy paid us to clear out some bandits who'd taken over his mine. We got in, took down most of them, and had just reached their leader when the mine collapsed around us. Turns out the bandits were working for the Olesian guy, and he wanted to cover up their agreement. The bandits passed around shovels. We all got to digging. Tracked a lot of dirt into that Olesian's bedroom.
We'll talk later.
Inquisitor?
Can we talk about the Bull's Chargers?
Certainly. What can I tell you?
Have you had any other interesting jobs?
We went up against Gatler's giants in Ferelden. Not actual giants, but big guys, all wearing a dragon's weight in armor. Might as well be fighting golems. The chief challenged Gatler himself to a single combat. Gatler laughed and called him a horned savage. The chief broke a dam and flooded the valley. Last we saw of Gatler was a bunch of bubbles as we swam away.
We'll talk later.
Inquisitor?
Can we talk about the Bull's Chargers?
Certainly. What can I tell you?
Have you had any other interesting jobs?
We had these villagers pay us with rice one time. Should have seen the chief's face. Him and me and 5 guys defending the town from 50 bandits, and they pay us in bags of rice. Chief always took money up front after that. He also learned how to make this rice pudding dessert. It was awful. It's pretty good.
We'll talk later.
Inquisitor?
I'd like to know more about the Iron Bull.
The chief. Last time I met him, he saved my life. I never thought I'd work for a Canary, but he grows on you. He's not like any commander I've ever worked for. That's for damn sure.
How's Iron Bull as a commander?
If you know what you're doing and hold up your end, he's easy. He doesn't accept any less. If he keeps us alive, he leads from the front, and if you've an idea that'll win the fight, he listens. I've seen bands whose captains had to prove they were swinging the biggest sword. Bull isn't like that. The Chargers might give him more lip than you'd expect, but every one of us would lay down our lives for the big ass.
Is it strange to work for a Canary?
He hasn't tried to convert us to the Qun, if that's what you're asking. Bull's Chargers don't care who you light a candle for, so long as your shield stays up. If he hadn't told me he was Ben Hasroth, I'd have thought he'd left that life behind.
I didn't expect he'd tell you all that he was a spy.
Not the whole band, but those who've been around long enough to trust. He figures most of us would find out sooner or later, and it should come from him. Eyes to eye, he says. It's never messed up a job. He just writes letters back home. Lots of the boys write letters back home.
How did a Tevinter soldier wind up in a Canary spy's mercenary company?
I wasn't a soldier at the time. I was in some trouble, trying to flee to Winter. A tribune and his men caught me in a border town tavern. They meant to make an example of me. Bull killed them. Gave up his eye doing it. Patched me up and asked if I was looking for work. I've been putting up with his jokes ever since.
That's how he lost the eye?
Yes. The guards had me on the tavern floor when Bull came inside and yelled for them to stop. One of them saw trouble coming and figured he'd finish me off. The guard had a flare. Bull put himself between me and the blow. Big-horned idiot. Didn't even know me.
We'll talk later.
You're doing good work, boss. I like how this Inquisition is coming. Next time you're free, why don't you come grab a drink? I'll introduce you to the Chargers.
Can you tell me more about Seheron?
It was a damn ugly place. Only getting uglier when I left. Between the Fog Warriors, the Talvashoth, my people, and the Vince, you were lucky to go a day without blood. What do you want to know?
What were the Fog Warriors like?
They were the worst of the rebels. They trained for stealth attacks. They made this fog. I never saw any mages, so I figured it was alchemy, not magic. They were almost invisible in it. I'd be on patrol in the market square. The fog would roll in, and before I knew it, half my squad dead without a sound.
It almost sounds like you admire them.
They didn't use poison. They didn't hurt civilians, and they were damn good fighters. You have to respect that. Plus, they hit the Vince as hard as they hit us. Hearing some terrified Magister scream, "My slaves! Where are my slaves?" in the fog always put a smile on my face.
Tell me about the Tevinter people you fought.
The Vince sent forces to Seheron every autumn. Guess they didn't like the summer heat. We had some good fights on the beaches, standing in knee-high water foaming red with blood, ships on fire around us. The cities were worse. Free bit of advice. Don't let the Inquisition forces get suckered into urban combat.
Why do you hate Tevinter forces so much? What makes them so bad?
It's not their armies. It's their spies. They bloodied Seheron year-round, killing loyalists, supporting rebels. Alam had no city administrator. Nobody would accept the position. The last 4 who held it died inside a year. Trying to conquer a country is one thing. Making it so nobody can live there, that just screws everyone.
Tell me about the Talvashoth.
When Qunari can't handle the fighting in Seheron or lose faith in the Qun, they go rogue. They flee into the wilderness and turn into bandits, attacking everyone. They're vicious, savage. You look at them and you can see why my people needed the Qun to stay civilized.
Isn't that what you did, though?
Hey, when I burned out, I didn't go rogue. I reported in and went where the Ben Hasrath sent me. I'm doing my job, serving the Qun out here. I'm not some bandit. I am nothing like them.
What are things like for the natives of Seheron?
I remember one guy. He made these things, fish wrapped in thin bread. Nice guy. Talk to him every morning. So, one time I'm asking about his bad back, and I see he's nervous, trying to tell me something with his eyes. Next thing I know, his assistants draw knives and come at my team. The rebels had forced him to poison my food.
And then?
I'd seen how nervous he was, so I hadn't eaten anything. A couple of my guys weren't so lucky. We killed the rebels. I lost 2 men to the poison, another to knife wounds. My friend who made the fish wraps died with a knife in his throat. Close quarters fight. He was caught in the middle. That is what things are like for the natives of Seheron.
See you later, Bull.
Nice talking with you, boss. Hey, boss. How are you?
You said we should go get some drinks and meet your company?
Yeah, come on. It'll be fun. Ah, good. We're not drinking alone. How you doing, Krem de la Krem?
Your worship. I'm so glad he has someone new to hit with that joke.
I can think of worse places to go with Crimicius.
So can the chief, believe me. He loves his nicknames.
Hey, when I was growing up, my name was just this series of numbers. We all give each other nicknames under the Qun.
They ever wear shirts under the Qun, chief? Or do they just run around binding their breasts like that?
It's a harness, Krem.
Yes, for your pillowy man bosoms. Let me know if you need help binding. You could really chisel something out of that overstuffed look.
Who are the others?
A lot of the Chargers went looking off for stronger drinks. Let's see, who's left? We've got Rocky and Skinner there. And over there are Stitches, Dalish, and Grim. Crazy bunch of assholes, but they're mine.
Were you born on the surface, or are you from Orzammar?
Orzammar. I got exiled. Stupid noble crap. Also, I accidentally blew up a bit of the shape rate.
Rocky's one of our best sappers. He can take down enemy fortifications faster than a golem.
I'm also working on my own version of Qunari black powder. I've almost got it.
Yeah, you really don't.
Why aren't you with your clan?
Our keeper thought I should see the world a little.
Dalish don't have Templars, so they can't have too many mages in a clan at once.
Now, sir, you know I'm not a mage. That'd make me an apostate.
You carry a staff, Dalish.
It's a bow.
A bow with a giant glowing crystal at the tip.
Yes, it's for aiming. Old elven trick you wouldn't understand.
I take it you're the company healer.
Yes, first time I ever picked up a sword was when the Blight hit Ferelden. Never put it back down.
He makes a potion that'll put you right back on your feet after even the toughest fight. It tastes terrible, though.
That's because it's a poultice, sir. You're not supposed to drink it.
So how'd you join the Chargers?
Killed some people.
Skinner didn't take kindly to nobles testing their new swords on the elves in her alienage.
Bull took me in. Now I get paid to kill shams.
This is actually really good behavior for her. She's not marking her territory or anything.
Grim, is it?
Grim doesn't talk much. I'm pretty sure he's the lost king of some small country, or chieftain. Something like that.
You really take in anyone, don't you?
Anyone who can carry their weight in a fight.
And who can put up with your bullshit, Chief?
Man can beat the Chargers, cause what hits you where it hurts. Unless you know a tavern with loose cards and looser skirts. For every bloody battlefield will gladly raise a cup. No matter what tomorrow holds, our horns be pointing up.
Thanks for coming by, boss. Glad you could meet some of my team.
True enough.
Good to see you, boss.
I'd like to hear more about the Chargers.
Always happy to talk about my guys. What do you want to know?
How did you start the group?
It's easy to make a name for yourself as a merc when you're a head taller than most folks. I spent a year or two working for Fisher's Bleeders, but their captain was crap. Figured I could do better. The best folks in the Bleeders agreed with me, so we split off.
I imagine Fisher disagreed.
He came at me. I snapped his sword in half, and we talked things out over drinks.
What are the craziest jobs you've ever taken?
Besides this one, there's a lot of violence between the nobles here, but that's standard work. The fun stuff is when they party. They always want to impress each other, and that means getting something shiny. We've hunted wyverns, fought through caves to find some old magical crap. Even went giant baiting once.
What's giant baiting?
So this old guy, Comte Van Chess, has some kind of a pageant planned. But he needs a giant, which is off in some damn cave. He's got some kind of rare charm to control the giant, but no way he's going into that cave himself. So we go in, kill some spiders, find the giant, and wake it up. It attacks us because, of course, it does. And we let the big bastard chase us outside where Van Chess is waiting.
That was actually your plan? To let a giant chase you?
Yeah, we had to stay out of reach, but close enough that it wouldn't give up. It was tricky. Good news is the giants are slow. Long as my guys ahead could clear out the spiders, we were fine. Bad news is the giant spiderwebs slow you down a bit more than you think.
But at least Comte Van Chess got his giant for the pageant.
Turned out that charm was a phony. Giant ate the poor guy alive. It's okay, though. We still got paid.
You have people from plenty of different backgrounds in your group.
Yes, well, when you're in Orlais and you look like me, you can't be picky about who you take in. A lot of them got turned away from other companies that didn't want a knife here, or a crazy dwarf. Their loss. You get my back in a fight and carry your own weight, you're good with me.
I'd like to know more about Krem.
He's a good soldier, and a better second in command. The troops need someone to complain to when I'm being a hard-ass. He's good for that.
You don't have a problem with him being from Tevinter?
Nah,
But you hate the Vints.
sure, but he's not a Vint. He's just Krem. I can get worked up about a group or a nation just fine, but people, it's too much work to hate them one by one.
You don't have any problems with him being a woman?
He's not a woman. Look, I've got horns. You can shoot fire out of your ass. We're probably not the best people to go around deciding what's normal. Krem's a good man. I don't give a nug's ass that it's a little harder for him to piss standing up.
See you later, Bull.
Nice talking with you, boss.
Inquisitor?
I wanted to talk about you, if that's all right.
You know, I'm from Tevinter. Wasn't a slave, but even citizens have it rough if they're not mages. I was a soldier, but women joined the ranks under a different program. When they found out I was passing, it got ugly. I ran, met Bull near the border, and ended up here. Not a life I'd wish on everyone, but it'll do.
You said you left Tevinter when they discovered your secret.
Women are allowed to serve, but only in certain ranks and disciplines. I was up for promotion, but the healer I'd bribed to sign off on my physical had to tend to a sick magister. When the replacement healer saw what was or wasn't in my paths, he made threats. It was slavery or death, so I knocked him out and ran.
It's against the law to pass as a man.
It's a crime to lie on an Imperial application for service. Would have been a heavy fine or slavery. For 10 silvers, the healer said he'd tell the Tribune I was sick in the head. Some pity for the mad little girl. That was when I hit him. I'd served for a few years. I was good at hitting.
I'm surprised you escaped from the Tevinter Imperium so easily.
It's not like I lived in Minrathous. I was in Trevis, not far from the Navarran border. It helped that I was being chased as a deserter, not a runaway slave. Slave hunters only get paid for what they catch. They're efficient bastards.
Why did you decide to live as a man?
I didn't decide anything. I've been like this my whole life. My parents wanted me to marry up. They tried to find me a nice merchant's son. Every day, put on a dress, look into my father's shaving mirror, and just hate myself.
If you had the chance to use magic, would you change all the way?
What? No. I don't want any magic like that within 10 yards of my body. When I was younger, I don't know. Everyone has silly dreams. In Tevinter, dreams like that get you killed. Bull helped me make a good life. Nice armor and a well-placed sock, and I'm happy.
How did your family react when you started?
My mother wanted to throw me out. She said if I didn't marry well, I was dooming the family to slavery. She was happy to take the money I set as a soldier, though. Not that it mattered in the end. My father. When I was little, he'd angle his mirror down so I could pretend to shave, just like him. He never said anything, but I think he knew.
What's Tevinter like for a citizen? Someone who isn't a slave or a mage?
I'm of the Separati, citizens who aren't mages. Mages are in charge and everyone knows it. But a wealthy merchant can have an easy life. At the low end, people just try to stay out of slavery. My father was a tailor. I joined the army after the Imperial slaves drove him under.
How did slaves drive your family out of business?
My father made shirts, aprons, that kind of thing. Nothing fancy. One of the magisters had a pet project to prevent the poor from dying of cold in the winter. Nice, right? You get Imperial slaves making simple peasant clothes and selling them for almost nothing. That magister's nice idea put out slave-made clothes at prices my father couldn't match.
It's difficult to compete with someone who doesn't get paid.
That's Tevinter. My father sold himself into slavery. He's one of the Servus Publicus, the Imperium-owned slaves now.
We'll talk later.